Since the dawn of civilization, humanity has gazed upward toward the sky, the stars, the heavens, seeking answers. We've carved myths into stone and passed down legends from generation to generation. But beneath these ancient stories lies a haunting question. Who were the gods that descended from the sky? In the ancient texts of every culture, we find powerful beings who came from above, beings who walked among men, who ruled, who taught, and who judged. Some were called gods, others angels. In Sanskrit scriptures, they rode flying chariots and wielded weapons more powerful than anything modern man has conceived. In the Bible, they appeared as sons of God who mated with the daughters of men. In Sumeria, they were the Anunnaki. In modern times, we call them aliens. But what if they were never gods? What if they were never extraterrestrial, at least in the way science imagines? What if they were something far more ancient and far more deceptive? In this documentary, we will explore the mysterious connections between ancient deities, the Watchers of the Book of Enoch, and the growing belief in extraterrestrials. We will search for a hidden truth buried beneath religion, history, and science. A truth that could reshape our understanding of angels, demons, gods, and aliens. Long before the Bible was canonized, an ancient Hebrew text circulated among early believers. This text was feared, banned, and ultimately lost until fragments of it were rediscovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls. It is known as the Book of Enoch, and within it lies one of the most controversial and powerful stories ever told. According to the Book of Enoch, 200 angels were sent to earth in the days before the Great Flood. They were called the Watchers, a celestial order whose role was to observe humanity. But when they descended upon the earth, they were seduced by human beauty. They broke their oath to the Most High, and in doing so, became the first of the fallen. These Watchers took human wives and fathered hybrid offspring giants called the Nephilim. The Nephilim were monstrous in size and appetite, devouring everything around them, including mankind. Their very existence corrupted the earth and triggered the divine judgment that would come in the form of the Great Flood. But the sins of the Watchers went beyond lust. They taught forbidden knowledge to mankind: how to forge weapons, use enchantments, perform abortions, manipulate the stars, and summon spirits. The Book of Enoch describes how one angel, Azazel, taught men to make swords and armor. Another, Semjaza, taught spells and signs of the heavens. These were not mere teachings, they were violations of divine law. The Watchers did not uplift mankind. They corrupted it. In response, God cast judgment. The Watchers were bound and buried beneath the earth, in deep prisons near the rivers of fire, the region many believed to be beneath the Euphrates. Enoch was chosen as a witness to their punishment, and he recorded these visions in the book that bears his name. The Book of Enoch was once revered by early Christians and even quoted in the Epistle of Jude, yet it was removed from the biblical canon and condemned as heresy by church authorities. Why? Perhaps because it revealed too much. Too many uncomfortable truths about the nature of fallen angels and their continued influence on the world. Many scholars now believe that the Watchers are the same beings described in other cultures under different names. Could they be the gods of Hindu mythology? The Devas and Asuras? Could they be the Anunnaki of Sumer? Could the same fallen entities appear across the myths of every culture? Disguised, renamed, but always the same? In the next chapter, we turn east to the sacred texts of India, where gods descend from the heavens in flying machines and engage in battles that echo the wars of the Watchers. There, we'll uncover one of the richest and most complex pantheons ever recorded, and ask, were these Hindu gods truly divine, or were they also the fallen ones? Far older than the Bible, older even than Greek mythology, are the ancient texts of India. The Rig Veda, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, these scriptures form one of the world's most sophisticated and ancient spiritual systems. Within them, gods descend from the sky, wield cosmic weapons, ride flying machines, and fight devastating wars in the heavens. But when examined closely, these deities do not always resemble the all-loving divine. Some act with anger, jealousy, deception, and immense power. Could these beings have been something else entirely? The Hindu cosmos is divided into many realms: spiritual, physical, and astral. At the center are the Devas, celestial beings often called gods, and their adversaries, the Asuras, often translated as demons. But the line between good and evil is blurry. Devas and Asuras are not absolute opposites. Both are born of the same divine origin, often representing opposing cosmic principles: order and chaos, light and shadow. In the Vedas, Devas and Asuras once lived together as celestial brothers. But pride, rivalry, and desire for power caused a celestial civil war. The Asuras fell from their place in the heavens and were cast into the lower realms. Sound familiar? This tale of celestial beings who fall from grace parallels the story of the Watchers in Enoch and the rebellion of Lucifer in Christian tradition. Just as the Watchers descended to earth and corrupted mankind, some Asuras descended as well, taking control of certain regions, teaching knowledge, demanding worship, and manipulating human affairs. One of the most intriguing parallels lies in the ancient Hindu flying machines, the Vimanas. Described in the Ramayana, Mahabharata, and the Vaimanika Shastra, Vimanas are not metaphorical. They are detailed as mechanical crafts, with propulsion systems, weaponry, and flight capabilities beyond even today's standards. Some could cloak themselves, travel underwater, and move at the speed of thought. The Pushpaka Vimana, flown by the demon king Ravana, was said to be a massive aerial chariot that could carry entire armies. Could Vimanas be the same as the chariots of fire described in the Bible? Or the spinning wheels seen in Ezekiel's visions, or even modern UFOs? Were the Devas and Asuras simply advanced beings, watchers, or fallen angels who used technology so far beyond our understanding it appeared as divine? Further connections emerge in the descriptions of ancient warfare. In the Mahabharata, the epic war of Kurukshetra unleashes weapons that resemble nuclear blasts. Blinding light, thunderous roars, and destruction on a planetary scale, all described with eerie similarity to modern atomic weaponry. One passage reads, "It was as if all the forces of nature had been unleashed, a single projectile charged with all the power of the universe. An incandescent column of smoke and flame, as bright as 10,000 suns, rose with all its splendor." Was this poetic myth, or was it memory, an account of ancient technology wielded by beings far superior to mankind? Some Hindu deities also show signs of dual identity. Take Shiva, the destroyer, the transformer, a being with the power to dance galaxies into existence or obliterate them in fire. In one myth, Shiva consumes the poison of the universe to save creation. In another, he unleashes destructive fury. Is Shiva a symbol of divine balance, or a watcher wielding powers incomprehensible to man? Other deities like Vishnu descend to earth in various avatars: Krishna, Rama, Narasimha, each time interacting with humans, battling demonic beings, and restoring order. Is this divine incarnation, or celestial interference? Then there are the Asuras, not mindless evil demons, but fallen celestial beings, often wise and powerful, sometimes even worshipped. The Asura Bali, for instance, is revered as a just and generous king. Could these be fallen watchers, punished yet still influential? In the Book of Enoch, the fallen angels taught humanity astrology, metallurgy, medicine, and sorcery. In Hindu stories, the Asuras often possess secret knowledge and power, challenging the Devas and sometimes even the gods themselves. It raises a powerful question. Were these ancient Hindu gods truly divine entities of the Supreme Creator, or were some of them the same beings Enoch warned about? Celestial rebels who fell to earth, brought knowledge, demanded worship, and altered the course of human history? In this framework, the Devas could be seen as the loyal angels, or unfallen watchers, while the Asuras are their corrupted kin. And the great battles of the Mahabharata and Ramayana may not be myths at all, but recorded memories of ancient wars between beings from beyond the stars, or from another dimension. If this is true, then the gods of Hinduism are not just symbolic archetypes. They are real, historical entities. Entities who walked among us, flew above us, and shaped civilization with divine technology, just as the Watchers did in Enoch. In the next chapter, we will journey across cultures, from Sumeria to Greece, from Egypt to the Norse Northlands, to discover how nearly every ancient civilization describes these sky beings. The names change, the myths evolve, but the pattern is always the same. If these divine beings were real, whether angels, watchers, or advanced intelligences, then surely they would not appear in only one culture's history. And they don't. Across the world, separated by oceans and language, ancient civilizations all tell the same story. Beings came from above. They gave knowledge. They ruled. They fell, and they left behind monuments, bloodlines, and mythologies that echo across the ages. Let us begin in Sumer, the cradle of civilization. The Sumerians recorded their earliest myths on clay tablets thousands of years before Christ. In their pantheon, powerful beings called the Anunnaki descended from the heavens to establish kingship on earth. They are described as shining ones, gods of the sky who created mankind to serve them. The name Anunnaki means those who came from heaven to earth. They lived on mountaintops. They ruled cities. They interbred with humans. They gave laws and technology, but also waged war and punished humanity when disobedient. The parallels to the Watchers of Enoch are unmistakable. The Anunnaki were not omniscient gods. They were advanced beings with power, ego, and agendas. Now journey west to Egypt, where the gods ruled as pharaohs in Golden Age dynasties. According to Egyptian texts, gods like Ra, Osiris, Thoth, and Isis came from the stars, particularly Sirius and Orion, and established the Nile civilization. The pyramid texts, some of the oldest religious writings in the world, speak of beings who descended from the Duat, the realm of the sky. Thoth, the god of wisdom and writing, is often depicted with the head of an ibis or baboon, but his powers suggest more than mere divinity. He was said to hold the secrets of resurrection, time travel, and cosmic navigation. Could Thoth have been one of the Watchers, or their equivalent in Egyptian lore? Further north, the Greek pantheon offers yet another reflection. The Olympians Zeus, Poseidon, Apollo, Athena were immortal, powerful, but also emotional and flawed. Before them came the Titans, primordial beings who ruled the earth before being overthrown. One Titan, Prometheus, defied Zeus to bring fire symbol of knowledge to mankind. He was punished for this rebellion, much like the angel Azazel in Enoch, who gave forbidden knowledge to man. The pattern repeats again. Higher beings, a rebellion, the giving of knowledge, punishment and exile. Travel now to Norse mythology, where the Aesir gods like Odin and Thor battled the chaotic Jotnar giants who lived at the edge of the known world. These Jotnar were not all evil. Many were wise, ancient, and intermarried with the gods themselves. Odin, the All-Father, hung himself from the world tree to gain secret knowledge, another echo of forbidden wisdom sought by divine beings. Even in Mesoamerica, the gods descend from the sky. The Maya and Aztecs believed in the sky serpent, and gods like Quetzalcoatl, a feathered serpent from the stars, who brought knowledge and promised to return. The Popol Vuh, a sacred Mayan text, describes gods creating mankind through multiple failed experiments, including giants before achieving success. Why does every civilization have nearly identical myths? Are these just psychological archetypes, symbols of the human desire for meaning? Or were ancient humans recording real encounters with non-human intelligences? One compelling explanation is this. The same group of beings, possibly the Watchers, appeared across the globe under different names. Some were worshipped as gods. Some were feared as demons. All shared one thing, a connection to the heavens, and a role in shaping early human history. These beings may not have been from outer space in the modern alien sense, but from another dimension, what the Bible calls the heavens, and Hinduism calls the lokas, a spiritual reality that intersects with ours. And perhaps as each culture evolved, these watchers or their descendants continued to interact with different tribes and nations, tailoring their message to suit the culture, but always leading back to the same source. In the next chapter, we will look closely at this idea. What if these gods, angels, and demons are not extraterrestrials, but extra-dimensional beings? Beings who transcend physical space, who can appear, disappear, and alter reality, not unlike the UFOs reported today. The ancient alien theory has fascinated millions, but what does it get right and what is it missing? Prepare to enter the crossroads of science and myth. Throughout history, stories of flying beings, glowing ships, and divine visitations have been cast into the realm of myth. But in the modern age, with the rise of technology and space exploration, humanity began asking a new question. What if these gods were not spiritual at all? What if they were aliens? The ancient astronaut theory, popularized by authors like Erich von Däniken and Zecharia Sitchin, proposes that many ancient deities were actually extraterrestrials, that their knowledge, power, and magic were misunderstood technology observed by primitive humans who had no framework for what they were seeing. And the evidence is compelling. Across cultures, flying vehicles are described in precise detail. In India, the Vimanas are described as circular crafts powered by mercury engines and sound vibrations details that eerily resemble modern propulsion systems. In the Book of Ezekiel, the prophet witnesses a strange craft descending from the heavens, a wheel within a wheel, sparkling like beryl, and the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. For centuries, theologians struggled to explain this, but engineers and modern readers have pointed out the uncanny resemblance to a rotating spacecraft, complete with lights, propulsion, and intelligent guidance. In Mesoamerica, ancient art depicts beings in what look like helmets, with tubes connecting to breathing apparatuses. One infamous carving from Palenque, Mexico, shows a man reclining in what appears to be a spacecraft, hands on levers, fire beneath his feet. Coincidence or memory? Let's look at architecture. Many ancient structures defy explanation even today. The Great Pyramid of Giza is aligned with astronomical precision. The stones used weigh several tons and were cut and transported with such accuracy that even modern equipment would struggle to replicate it. In Baalbek, Lebanon, a platform of stones, some weighing over 1,000 tons, serves as the base of what was once a temple. No known civilization had the tools to move such blocks. So how did they get there? The Nazca lines in Peru depict animals, geometrical shapes, and runways stretching miles visible only from the sky. Who were they for? Skeptics argue that we underestimate the intelligence of ancient people, and perhaps we do, but intelligence alone does not explain how such global cultures, without contact, built pyramids, described flying vehicles, and told stories of beings from the stars. Then there's the matter of genetic manipulation. The Book of Enoch describes the Watchers producing offspring with human women giants who corrupted the earth. In modern UFO lore, abductees often describe genetic experiments, hybrid children, and manipulation of human DNA. The pattern is unsettlingly consistent. Could this be the same agenda, continuing across millennia? Even science is now catching up. Quantum physics has introduced the possibility of other dimensions, realms outside our space-time. Theoretical physicists like Michio Kaku and Brian Greene speak of a multiverse. Could these gods, angels, or aliens exist in higher dimensions and simply appear to us when the veil is thin? Consider this: UFOs, those that are genuinely unexplainable, often defy the laws of physics. They change direction instantly, vanish into thin air, and accelerate beyond any known propulsion system. These aren't just ships, they're distortions of space itself. Beings that travel this way might not come from distant galaxies, but from parallel realities. So perhaps the ancient gods were not extraterrestrial in the way we think, flesh and blood beings flying in metal ships, but rather interdimensional intelligences. Spirits, if you will, cloaked in technology, or perhaps fallen angels, continuing the mission they began before the flood. The alien hypothesis, then, is not in conflict with Scripture. It may be part of it. What modern science calls aliens, the ancients may have called gods, demons, or angels. But the essence is the same. They came from beyond, they had power, and they altered the fate of humanity. In the next chapter, we'll look for physical evidence of this interaction. From megalithic ruins and ancient texts to secret government reports and unexplained phenomena, we will ask, what did the ancients leave behind, and what does it tell us about their visitors? If beings once descended from the sky, whether as gods, angels, or advanced intelligences, then the earth itself should bear witness. In ruins too vast to explain, in bloodlines shrouded in mystery, and perhaps even in our DNA, traces remain. The past has not been lost. It's been buried waiting to be reawakened. Let us begin with the stones. Across the planet, enormous megalithic structures lie in silence, some carved with precision, others mysteriously aligned with stars. Their purpose and construction remain unsolved puzzles to this day. At Baalbek, in present-day Lebanon, 3 colossal stones called the Trilithon weigh over 1,000 tons each. They rest atop a platform said to predate the Roman temple built over it. No modern crane on Earth can lift and position such stones with the precision found there. Who built it, and why? In the highlands of Peru, the walls of Sacsayhuaman are a marvel of engineering. Cyclopean stones interlock perfectly without mortar, some weighing over 100 tons, yet fitting so tightly that a single sheet of paper cannot pass between them. These walls have withstood earthquakes for centuries, while modern buildings have crumbled. Even more enigmatic is Pumapunku in Bolivia. There, stones are laser-cut with millimeter precision, drilled with holes so perfect they seem to be machine-made. Yet the site is believed to be over 10,000 years old. Did ancient man possess lost technology? Or were they aided by something not human? Then there is Mount Kailash in Tibet, a sacred peak in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. It is forbidden to climb. No human has reached its summit. Legends say it is the center of the world, a gateway to the divine. Its pyramid-like symmetry and mysterious aura have led some to call it a possible abandoned base of the gods. Beyond architecture, there are global alignments that defy coincidence. The pyramids of Giza align precisely with Orion's belt. Ancient structures in Mexico, Cambodia, and China share celestial orientations. Did the ancients build according to the stars because they worshipped them, or because their gods came from them? But not all evidence lies in stone. Some may lie in us. The Book of Enoch tells us the Watchers interbred with human women, producing a hybrid race, the Nephilim. Gigantic, powerful, and violent, they nearly destroyed the earth. This was one reason for the Great Flood to wipe out their corruption. But what if remnants of the Nephilim survived? Across time, cultures have spoken of giants. From the Rephaim and Anakim of Canaan to the Rakshasas of India, the Jutnar of Norse myth, and the Titans of Greece, giants walk through legend as both conquerors and outcasts. Archaeological finds have added fuel to this fire. Oversized human bones and skulls have reportedly been discovered in places like the US, Ecuador, and the Middle East, only to vanish into obscurity, often dismissed by institutions. Were these remains of the Nephilim or something else? Then there's the mystery of Rh-negative blood. About 15% of the global population has it. Rh-negative mothers cannot easily carry Rh-positive babies without medical intervention. It's a biological incompatibility. But why would any segment of humanity be genetically incompatible with the rest? Some theorists suggest it's a marker, possibly of ancient hybridization. Still more intriguing are ancient skulls found in Peru, Malta, and Egypt with elongated craniums. These are not artificially shaped by binding. The volume, suture structure, and genetic profile of these skulls differ from normal humans. Some contain non-human mitochondrial DNA. Were these elite lineages descended from otherworldly beings? Finally, there's symbolic evidence texts, carvings, and rituals passed down from ancient priesthoods. Secret societies like the Freemasons and the Rosicrucians hint at ancient knowledge kept hidden from the masses. Knowledge said to originate with beings from the stars or beyond. Could these societies be the modern caretakers of what the Watchers once taught? From stone to blood, from myth to mutation, the fingerprints of the gods or fallen angels appear everywhere. If all of this is true, then our history is not what we've been told. We are not merely evolved primates who climbed out of the caves. We are a species touched by something beyond guided, altered, perhaps even enslaved by those who came before the flood. And perhaps they're not finished with us yet. In the next chapter, we explore the chilling possibility that these beings, whether aliens or fallen angels, never truly left. They simply changed their names, their methods, and their agenda. For centuries, humanity has assumed that higher beings, whether divine or extraterrestrial, are benevolent. Angels protect, gods bless. Aliens are curious explorers from distant stars. But what if this assumption is wrong? What if the very beings who presented themselves as gods never had our salvation in mind? The Bible warns that Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. The Book of Revelation describes fallen spirits returning to deceive the nations. In Hindu texts, Asuras, fallen celestial beings, often disguise themselves as sages or gods to manipulate mankind. And in modern UFO lore, beings appear benevolent until they're not. What if the so-called alien visitors of today are not interstellar scientists or friendly cosmic neighbors, but are, in fact, the same entities known to ancient prophets as the Watchers? Let's examine the abduction phenomenon. Across cultures and decades, tens of thousands have reported being taken against their will. They describe paralysis, missing time, invasive procedures, and often a disturbing focus on reproductive experiments. Women report forced impregnation. Men describe genetic sampling. Many recall seeing strange hybrid children with large eyes and human alien features. These accounts eerily echo the Book of Enoch, where the Watchers sought to mix their seed with mankind. Is this hybrid program continuing in secret? Even more chilling is the consistency. Abductees report telepathic communication, the presence of reptilian or insectoid beings, and an overwhelming feeling of spiritual deception, as if the beings are not what they appear to be. Some researchers now suggest that these entities are not physical in the traditional sense. They are interdimensional, able to manifest in our realm, temporarily appearing as gods in the ancient world, aliens in the modern one. They adapt their form to fit the beliefs of the age. In medieval times, they were demons and incubi. In the 20th century, they were little grey men. Today, they are beings of light, offering ascension and false unity. But their core agenda remains unchanged: infiltration, deception, and hybridization. In the Book of Revelation, beasts rise from the earth, and a false prophet calls down fire from the sky, leading the world into worship of a false Messiah. Is this a literal prophecy or a metaphor for an alien disclosure event? Modern governments are slowly releasing once classified UFO footage. The Pentagon now admits something is in our skies unexplainable, intelligent, and evasive. But disclosure is not just scientific, it is spiritual. Many in the New Age movement claim to channel messages from these beings, messages that sound beautiful, enlightened, even divine. Yet they always follow a pattern. We are your creators. We seeded your planet. You are becoming gods. Reject the old religions. Follow the new light. But who is this light, and why does it seek to replace God? According to ancient texts, the Watchers once craved worship, They demanded blood sacrifices, built temples, and installed themselves as rulers. Could the modern alien narrative be a continuation of the same desire to replace the Creator, to install false gods, and to merge humanity with something inhuman? Even in Hinduism, some texts warn of deceptive beings in the Kali Yuga, beings who perform miracles, claim to be gods, and lead mankind into chaos. In the Bible, Jesus warned of false Christs and lying wonders. Is it possible that the final deception of mankind will not be religious or political, but cosmic? The lines between science fiction and scripture blur. If aliens are real, and if they are tampering with our DNA, influencing our leaders and guiding global thought, then we must ask, are they really visitors or invaders? Are they here to help humanity ascend? Or are they the same fallen angels still working their ancient plan to corrupt the image of God, destroy mankind's soul, and defy the Most High? In the next chapter, we'll explore the prophetic writings that suggest these beings will return in full view. Across cultures, Christian, Hindu, Islamic, and even tribal traditions, there are signs of a coming return, a re-emergence, a final war. And the question becomes not just who they are, but what will happen when they come back. The ancient gods promised they would return, not just in legend, not just in spirit, but in power and glory. From the pages of scripture to stone tablets, from Eastern temples to indigenous prophecies, the world's cultures all point to a final convergence, a moment in time when the veil is lifted, and beings once called gods, angels, or sky people walk the earth once again. But what does this return look like? And who is truly coming back? Let's begin with the Bible. In the book of Revelation, the abyss is opened. From it rise entities described as locusts with the power of scorpions, led by a king, Abaddon, or Apollyon. They torment humanity for 5 months. Later, it speaks of the beast from the sea, empowered by the dragon, who demands worship and deceives the world with great signs, even calling down fire from heaven. This is no sci-fi fantasy. It's an ancient warning of beings returning from another realm, not space, but the spiritual abyss, cloaked in signs and wonders, leading humanity astray. In Hindu prophecy, during the final phase of the Kali Yuga, the world falls into chaos. False gurus rise, morality collapses, deceptive beings with divine powers manipulate humanity. Only then does Kalki, the final avatar of Vishnu, arrive, not to bring peace but to destroy the darkness and reset the cycle. Buddhist texts also describe a future Maitreya, a messianic figure who comes in a time of global delusion. But many will rise falsely in his name before the true one appears. Among the Hopi, Zulu, and Mayan peoples, there are similar visions. Sky gods or star ancestors who once taught humanity, returning at the end of an age. Some say they come to judge, others say they come to harvest. Even Islam speaks of a final deception, the Dajjal, a false messiah with supernatural powers who leads billions astray before being confronted by the return of Isa, Jesus, and Imam Mahdi. In every tradition, there are 2 arrivals. One who deceives, who looks like light but brings darkness. 2, one who restores truth, often violently, cleansing the world of corruption. So who will people believe when these beings return? Modern technology sets the stage. With AI, holograms, satellites, and global media control, it's now possible to simulate a second coming, to produce signs in the sky, voices in the air, and even false miracles. Some call this Project Blue Beam. Whether real or speculative, the infrastructure for global deception already exists, and many will be ready to believe. In the age of spiritual confusion and religious exhaustion, humanity is primed for a new God, one who unites science and spirituality, one who offers peace, unity, and advanced knowledge, one who promises salvation without repentance. But the Book of Enoch warns, In those days, the Watchers will return and deceive even the elect. This isn't just ancient myth, this is prophecy, and it's accelerating. The growing disclosure of UFOs, the push toward transhumanism, the blending of religions into a one-world spiritual system, the shift from divine worship to cosmic identity, it all points to one goal: to remake mankind in the image of the fallen, to complete what was started in Genesis 6, to crown the false gods once again. But it won't end with their return. It ends in war. Armageddon, Kurukshetra, Ragnarök. Every tradition ends in a final battle. Light versus darkness, gods versus man, truth versus deception. And as the skies open, as signs appear, and as beings descend from above, the greatest test of human discernment will begin. Will we kneel before the deceiver, or will we remember the warnings and cling to the true Creator? The veil is lifting. For centuries, humanity has been caught between heaven and earth, between gods and monsters, between truth and deception. What began in Eden continued on Mount Hermon. What was prophesied in Enoch echoes in the Vedas. What terrified the prophets is now studied by scientists. But now we stand at the edge of the final question. Who will we trust when the sky opens? The Great Awakening is not just about exposing the so-called aliens. It is about realizing that we have always been at war, not with flesh and blood, but with powers, principalities, and rulers of darkness in high places. This battle is not about religion or science alone. It is about the soul of mankind. The Book of Enoch, long hidden, has returned in this age for a reason. It warns of the Watchers, those who once descended, corrupted, and were chained beneath the earth. It foretells their release in the final days and the return of their children, the Nephilim, the hybrids, the false saviors. In Hindu scriptures, the Asuras wage war on Dharma, taking forms both beautiful and terrifying, until the avatars return to set things right. In Christian prophecy, Jesus warns of false Christs and lying signs and wonders that would deceive even the very elect. And today, the deception is not coming, it is already here. We see it in the glorification of alien creators. We see it in the merging of man with machine. We see it in the rewriting of history and the erasure of God. But amidst the chaos, there is a remnant, a people who refuse to bow to the false light, people who search the scriptures, who test the spirits, who remember that not everything that glows is divine, and not every being from the sky is a messenger of the Creator. The real awakening is about discernment. Yes, there may be other worlds, other beings, even creations beyond our comprehension, but the true war is not about discovering them. It is about remembering Him, the one true God, who does not arrive in deception, but in truth. The gods of old demanded sacrifice. The aliens of today demand submission, but the true Creator gave Himself as a sacrifice, asking nothing but that we choose love, wisdom, and light. In the end, it's not about the return of the gods. It's about the return of the King. The question is, when He comes, will we know His voice? Or will we have traded the truth for a beautiful lie? At the heart of this entire journey, through gods, watchers, fallen angels, aliens, deception, and prophecy, the message is clear. The true God is Jesus Christ, the Word made flesh, the Creator who stepped into time not to deceive or demand sacrifice, but to save. The return we're waiting for is not of the false gods, but of the King of Kings. They will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with power and great glory. Matthew 24:30. He will not come with deception. He will not need technology, false signs, or manipulation. His return will be unmistakable, uncounterfeitable, and final. And until that day, we watch, we warn, we stay grounded in truth, and we do not bow to the gods of this world.